I got you. Let it vibe real quick. Look. The city eyes. It's time to Bogart. My God, a real nigga, cause he wasn't no flaw. Posted on the corner like a watchdog. Family secure, got that shot in the closet by the mob ball. Fuck what they heard, tell them it's all true. Be cautious, that foundation voltage and fall through. They gon' fall. Look, I keep this shit 50 times 2. Ain't no more heart in this game, I'm John Q. Colder than the avalanche, way above average. Offense taste sweet, told him make me an apple crisp. Left us in the valley full of bones, this where hope found. Java, come on, man. Dark sands get broke down. Riding through Evanston with Mark Quad. Telling me how them crackers turn his childhood to a ghost town. Poke a stop, nigga, I lay that game down. I feel his pain, cause nothing is the same now. Let my light shine like heaven through a rain cloud. Glock have a fit like my child, no tangent. Try to warn them niggas, we bear arms like tarantulas. Them other niggas rap, I make anthems. I really seen profits under this banner. Made my enemies bow down on camera. Told my design I wanted black and white like a panda. I'm better than that nigga that sunk dirty Diana. Look, I move like a facility, precious cargo. Spirit ancient, but I got a new semi-auto. Wave that bitch around like where's Waldo. Sleep if they won't, I cut through they Z's like I'm Zorro. Pay me for his name, so I gotta keep that steel clutch. Trust me, I'm not what you think. I squeeze till it click like Dorothy when the heels touch. The world got me dumb, I don't feel much. Ride around with Yara, just left the state bridge. Looking for a bitch better than Baby's kid. Remember I dropped Quiet Storm, I've been gone never since. Still in the field, fuck them niggas on the fence, yeah.
I don't know who, somebody need to hear this. Y'all don't speak Hebrew, that's Yiddish. How the fuck you try to label us anti-Semitic? We the Israelites, blacks, native Hispanics. The Germans getting locked up for the Holocaust. Meanwhile, black people still up in the Holocaust. 100 million of us died in the transatlantic. 6 million died, y'all want the world to never forget it. You can never be a Jew, you a Ashkenaz. This ain't a star dum-dum, a gun die or die. Yeah, Yeezy told the truth and got ostracized. Not one person in the Bible had on a yarmulke. We was slaves in America like we was in Egypt. Y'all don't even fit the curses in the Torah neither. Y'all was blind to the truth, I had to make it clear. How Jerusalem, your land, your people came from Europe. That was 1947, your menorah got 9 sticks, it's really only 7. Yeah, it's us against the world, Armageddon. This what happened when you inherit lies from your ancestors. Y'all the synagogue of Satan with them black hats. Your whole nation sitting ducks, Aflacs. Bunch of thieves and culture vultures, ain't nothing kosher. To tell the truth, you vagabonds don't have a culture. Macedonia, Alexander and Philip, you a convert, so tell me, how the fuck is you Israel? That don't make you the people just cause you litter. Why my people can't hate your people like y'all hate Hitler? All the prophets was black and was called nigga. Y'all don't even fit the description that's in the scriptures. Abraham, all the way down to Jacob, we the real Jews. Y'all don't study Christ, y'all follow the Talmud. Keep it real, yeah, let's keep it real. Cold hard truth, it give you chills. Say y'all Jew-ish cause y'all ain't really them. About to do them like Hammond, it's the Feast of Purim. U.P.K undefeated, this an easy win. We was born fighting, y'all the evil twin. Jacob took hold of his heel, then out came his little red bastard, they kosher deals. It's only 12 tribes, y'all trying to make it 13. Esau despised his birthright, the Lord cursed him. He ain't the devil, who is? I'm still searching. Ask your rabbi, why he get them babies herpes? I don't know what's worse, that or you claiming that you a Maccabee. I'm about to cancel, everybody try to cancel ye. I ain't afraid to speak, that's what I do. They riding to the core, I'm just judging them by their fruit. cause they ain't suffering curses. If I was carnal, I promise I'd punch you in person. I know this an uncomfortable subject. They making millions off our culture and black people suffering from it. Yeah, they don't believe in Christ, they the Antichrist. Make a living off of niggas, they a parasite. I ain't afraid to tell the truth, niggas terrified. I'm about to go DEFCON 4, I ain't satisfied.
That is proof. That is absolute proof that they know we are the real Jews. That's absolute proof. Now, he got the records. Go find me a white Jew on any archaeology in Egypt anywhere. You will never find a piece of archaeology with white people as slaves in Egypt. So don't tell me that they were slaves and it's their identity, and they know it. And another blasphemy of them, which they are Jews and are not. The Lord knows the blasphemy of you so-called white people that say you are Jews and you are not Jews. You are not the people of the law. You are not God's chosen people. God's chosen people are living in the ghettos of America. God's chosen people are in poverty and depression in the streets of America. God's chosen people are walking around in a...
Yeah. On 44 shit, you know what I mean? Busy man, busy man. Look, when that shit drop, you step all the way on their neck, step on their neck and their head with that shit. Fine then, I ain't show no mercy, we gon' show them boy what time it is. I pop out like I'm Samuel, I got time to kill. Haters thought I died, I survived. They don't know how I did it, got it out the mud, straight to glory. They don't know how I feel, he nice but he don't show them skills, how I show them skills. He ride but he don't work the wheel, how I work the wheel. They mad, I'm too solid, circle tight, yeah, vacuum seal. No, they want my life, I ain't worried, I got rank for real. I got real soldiers, kill folk.
Hey, Shalom, y'all. Christ, the man who we ignorantly called Jesus. One second. All right, so if y'all could hear and see me, put a 1 in the chat. You understand? And like I said, we were going to start at Revelation chapter 1, verse 13. But as a matter of fact, let's start at Revelation chapter 1, verse 1, just to prove you that I'm actually talking about Jesus Christ. You understand? So it reads now, Revelation chapter 1, verse 1. The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him to shew unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John. Now, this is the revelation of, this is a revelation to John. You understand? To the prophet John, right? And it's talking about the revelation of Jesus Christ. Now, what is a revelation? It means to reveal. To reveal is that, you know, I'm going to show you something. You understand? So the Most High is going to show John what Jesus Christ looks like, what he's all about as well. You understand? Now let's jump down to verse 13, right? Because Jesus Christ was also known as the King of the Jews. You understand? So let's jump down to verse 13. Let's see the description of the man that we ignorantly call Jesus Christ, right? So Revelation chapter 1, verse 13. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and a girt about the paps with a golden girdle. Now, let me break it down to y'all, right? When it talks about in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, it means, right, in the midst or in the middle, right? So around the 7 candlesticks, the 7 candlesticks will represent the 7 churches that Paul brought up. You understand? Around Asia Minor. You understand? The 7 candlesticks are they would ignorantly call it the 7 churches, but they are schools, which is one of the reasons why we call ourselves the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. We're not a church and we're not a camp. We are a school. You understand? So the 7 candlesticks are the 7 schools that Paul brought up in Asia Minor, right? In the midst of them, one like unto the Son of Man. Now, if you actually know the scripture, even if you don't know it, the Son of Man is another term to describe the man we ignorantly call Jesus Christ. You understand? And it describes how he was clothed, right? He had a garment down to the foot. Now you see, if you ever seen any UPK tape, a man with a garment, you understand? You see our apparel when we go to camp, or when we hold the Passover, our priestly apparel with fringes. You understand? With our belts and everything. That is a garment, right? Go look up I.S.U.P.K Canada. You're gonna see my big brother Officer 1000, the body with a golden garment. The man is shining like, you know, he wearing a precious stones on himself. Isn't it? Now, it describes our King Yahweh Shai Mashiach, or Jesus Christ, right, with a garment down to the foot and a girt around the paps with a golden girdle. It's talking about his belt. He had a golden belt around the midsection. You understand? Now let's read further. Now let's keep going in the verse, right? In the chapter, Salakia. So Revelation chapter 1, verse 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. Now, a quick question to whoever's watching right now, right? What people on the face of the earth has woolly hair? You understand? I'm gonna give a quick shout out to the chat. Shalom. Stakala, Yawashamal Tabashi Shai. Shalom. Ra'a Ha'awar. You understand? Lord in Christ. Dua for tuning in. So whoever's in the chat, whoever's watching the class right now, what people on the face of the earth has woolly hair? Because it describes Christ in Revelation chapter 1, verse 14, that he has hair like wool. So now, What people on the face of the earth has woolly hair? You understand? Or nowadays in 2022, they may call it woolly hair. What they would call it again? Nappy hair, kinky hair. You understand? In Creole, we call it cheveux crépus. In Haitian Creole, it's said tête graine. So who, like, what people on the face of the earth has that type of hair? I'm gonna give y'all like a few seconds. You understand? What people on the face of the earth has woolly hair? If no one's gonna answer, it's the what? I mean, I'm gonna just give it to y'all for time's sake, right? So-called Negroes, people of color, have woolly hair. The so-called Jewish men that you see right there in the state of Israel right now, Amalek, you understand? He descends from the Khazars. Understand? He's a Khazarian from the Empire of Khazaria. You understand? What's his name? Whatever his name is, Benjamin Netanyahu, the president or prime minister of Israel right now. He's not a real Jew. You understand? The Jews are people of color who have woolly hair. You understand? So-called the men that you see right there if you're living in Montreal, the men you see in Côte Saint-Luc, Hampstead, and Westmount, Benai Brith, are not real Jews, which is the reason why they call themselves Jewish. The ISH suffix at the end of Jew, which makes Jewish, means to be like. Because if I say now a shirt is reddish, it's not red, but it's kind of like red. If I say someone is acting blackish, he's acting kind of like black, but he's not black. Now, the reason why they call themselves Jewish is because they're trying to act like they are the Jews, but they're not the Jews. You understand? And it reads right there in Revelation chapter 1, verse 14, that the king of the Jews had woolly hair like wool. You understand? Now, the color, I mean, not that it doesn't matter that much, but it's really about the texture, because anyone could have white hair, but not anyone could just have woolly hair. You understand? Only us Negroes have woolly hair. Hispanics have woolly hair like us. You understand? Some Gadites have woolly hair as well. You understand? Some people must say, yeah, Africans have woolly hair too, but mind you now, skin folk is not kinfolk. You understand? Not all people of color are the chosen people of the Most High, whatever hair texture they have. Only a certain people are chosen people of the Most High. And those are so-called Negroes, Hispanic, or Latinos, and Native American Indians. You understand? And we just read the description of their king, the man we call Jesus Christ, whose real name is Yahweh Shai Mashiach in the Hebrew. Now let's keep reading. As well, it said that he had eyes as a flame of fire. Now, if you know Black, Latinos, and Native people, we like to drink. I mean, we don't get drunk like that because it is unlawful just to, just be drunk out here out of your mind. But we have a drink here and there. And having that drink, it makes our eyes red. You understand? And it's describing Christ as having his eye red because not only, like, yeah, Christ did drink. He made water into wine. You think he's not going to drink the water that he made into wine? Make it make sense. Not only that now, but yes, Christ did drink, but he was not a drunkard though. As well as describing his fierce look. The way he was looking at you, people would be scared of him because he had this fierce look. It's like, it described his look as a flame of fire. You understand? Because he had a fierce look. It will burn through your soul. Right? And when you look at so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, when we look at you in a fierce way, or in 2022, they would say a mean way, whatever the case is, understand? It's like it's like you feel the fear, you understand? you start to feel fear in your soul, because we're looking at you in an austere way, because Christ was an austere man. Yes, that he was not a man to play with. And that is the king of so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. Now, let's keep on reading, because the thing is now, a brother called Kanye West and another Kyrie Irving are getting heat because they're saying that, the Jews are black. I mean, Kyrie didn't say nothing. Kanye said the Jews are black. Kyrie only posted a movie talking about the Jews in North America were black. In the US were black, right? But mind you now, they didn't say anything against white people, but they're being canceled because they're bringing out the truth. And the thing is that, honestly, they need a flyer, and they need to come into the I.S.U.P.K. so that they could be able to defend their point and prove their point in the proper way, just like we do. You understand? Because we're not out here just shouting at people just like that. We're not out here yelling at people, talking about, we are right and you're wrong. We're proving them they're wrong in the scriptures. Just like I'm doing right now. I'm proving to you that the Jews are black. I'm starting with the king. And I'm going to pull up some more scriptures to show you that the Jews are black. And that the Jews not only are black, but are so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. But first off, let me finish with the description of Christ, right? So let's jump down to verse 15. Revelation chapter 1, verse 15. And it reads, "And his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burnt in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters." Now, mind you now, is describing Christ, right? We read in Revelation chapter 1, verse 1 that this is the revelation of Jesus Christ, meaning the description is about to show you what Jesus Christ looks like and what he's all about, his spirit and everything, right? So now it's telling you in Revelation chapter 1, verse 15, not only 1 verse 14 that he has hair like wool. That's number one. Second, 1 verse 15, it says that his feet were like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. As far as I know, I have the same color as brass. You understand? I'm brown skinned. So now, when you take in Canada, we don't have them no more, but we used to have pennies. So now when you take a penny is the same color as me. Maybe a lighter, a lighter brown or a darker brown. It don't matter. It's brown regardless. Now, Christ was brown, as it described it right here, like unto fine brass, as if it burned in a furnace, meaning, okay, so what happens to something that burns, right? Something you light on fire and it burns. Whatever it is, it could be paper, it could be plastic, it could be, it could be a penny, you understand? It could be wood. What happens to something that burns under a flame? Whoever's in the chat, whoever's watching the class right now. By the way, whoever's watching the class right now, stop messing around, stop playing around. Y'all need to like, share, subscribe to the class. Stop just watching the class like that. Like, I see who's watching the class, by the way. Eh? I see y'all. So go ahead and share the class. Stop playing around. You understand? Now coming back to the topic, right? Christ has hair like wool. And it says that his color is like unto fine brass, as if it burned in a furnace. Now, what is the color of something that burns in a furnace? I'll give you about 15 seconds to answer. Go ahead, type it in the chat. Stop playing around. Interact with the class. I'll give you about 15 seconds to do so. You understand? Christ is the color of fine brass, as if it burned in a furnace. So yeah, as a matter of fact, I see that y'all not really interacting. So for time's sake, I'm gonna let y'all know. Something that burns, it becomes black. You see like the shirt I got right here? Don't mind the writing. Now the shirt itself is black. You understand? El negro. Hey, Tawada says, Sister Kala, you understand? Give me 1 second. Something that burns in the furnace is black. When you leave some food in the oven for too long, you know, it turns black. You understand? Whatever you're burning, whether it's paper, cardboard, plastic, you understand? At some point, it's going to turn black if you burn it. If it's under a flame, you apply too much heat to it and it burns, it turns black. Meaning, Christ was not necessarily as black as my shirt right here, my hoodie. That's not what it says. It's describing that he was a dark-skinned man. You understand? He was a man of color. Now, to B'nai B'rith, the so-called Jewish community, the people in the state of Israel, that dumbass Edomite rapper, el pinche gusano, el pinche diablo que habla la Biblia. You understand? Kosher deals. You understand? Kosher deals. Make it make sense now. How is the king of the Jews black and y'all white? How is the king of the Jews black and the so-called Jewish, not even Jews, but the Jewish are white? Make it make sense. You understand? And I just read you that the king of the Jews is a black man, a dark-skinned brother. And he's from the tribe of Judah too. So-called Jesus Christ, he's dark like Wesley Snipes. You understand? And he's an austere man. He look at you, you bow down your head. You understand? Now, let me show you that not only Jesus Christ is black, but the Jews are black. Right? Let's go into Jeremiah chapter 14 and verse 2. So, yeah, short. Jeremiah chapter 14, verse 2. Give me 1 second, Malcolm shot. Bear with me. Jeremiah, what I said, chapter 14, verse 2. All right. By the way, if y'all have any questions in the chat, go ahead and type it in. Or in the chat, whatever. If y'all have any questions, type in the questions in the chat. You understand? This is a scripture breakdown where to prove that Jews are actually black or there are people of color. You understand? Now we're going to read from Jeremiah chapter 2, Jeremiah chapter 14, verse 2, right? It says, Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. Now, kosher deals, B'nai B'rith, so-called Jewish community, Benjamin Netanyahu. What is his name there? Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, say Jewish. Make that make sense. You understand? Because let me break it down to you, right? It says Judah mourneth, right? Now, the word Jew or the term Jew is really a short term for Judah, meaning the tribe of Judah, right? So it's either going to speak about the tribe of Judah or the kingdom of Judah. Now, if you have any knowledge about the scriptures, right, you will know that at that time, after the kingdom of Solomon, after the Most High split the kingdom, after the reign of Solomon, right, there were the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, right? Now, the southern kingdom was known as the kingdom of Judah, which comprised of the tribe of Judah, tribe of Benjamin, and a part of the tribe of Levi. You understand? So when it speaks about Judah, it speaks either about the tribe or the kingdom of Judah, which I told you are comprised of 3 tribes, or more like 2.5, right? So it says right there that Judah mourneth, meaning, first of all, if you are a so-called real Jew, you're supposed to be in mourning. So how are the people in the state of Israel right now in mourning? You understand? Those people own the Diamond District. They own, you know, their, whenever you go to a jeweler, you're most likely going to a Jew. Which, man, Salakia. You're not going to a Jew, you're going to a Jewish man. You understand? Most likely when you're going to a jeweler. You understand? They own the media, they own the jewelry business. You understand? They own neighborhoods. In Montreal, we have 3 Jewish neighborhoods called Côte Saint Luc, Hampstead, and Westmount. They're so, I will not say rich, right? I mean rich in a way that financially, yeah, they're up financially, right? They're so they have such an financial advantage that they are considered separate towns within the city. Even though they're in the city of Montreal, they are considered separate towns. They have the town of Côte Saint Luc, Hampstead, and then Westmount. You understand? But those are all Jewish neighborhoods. And they're also everywhere. They're in Park Extension, they're in Côte des Neiges, Uptown. You understand? At the end of the day, they're everywhere. But the point is that how are they in mourning if they're able to proliferate like that? They're able to spread like a goddamn virus because that's what they are in the first place. Not because they're Jewish. I mean, the Caucasian man is a virus in the first place. You understand? But the point is that how are they in mourning? Not only that, but it says that their gates have languished. Now, what is a gate? A gate, no, I mean, not what is a gate, but what is the purpose of a gate? You understand? When you go into your home, when you go into, you know, the place you live in, when you put up a gate, what is the purpose of the gate? You understand? For time's sake, I'm gonna give it to y'all, right? Give me 1 second. Salakia, for time's sake, I'm gonna give it to y'all, right? The purpose of a gate is to keep things from coming into your zone. You understand? Coming into where you live. Try to keep things out and prevent them from coming in. Now, how are their gates languished? They have a military. We don't. So-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, we don't have a military. I mean, they're gonna say, yeah, we have the Cuban have a military, or you know, there's a Contras, and you know, whatever the case is. I mean, it's the Colombian military, whatever the case is. But at the end of the day, it is all operated by the white man. You understand? We do have soldiers all over the islands in Central and South America, but really, it is all operated by the white man, the Caucasian man, the oppressor. So how do we have our own military? We don't. Our gates have language. They're able to put drugs in the neighborhood and we can't do nothing about it. They're able to kidnap our brothers and sisters and we're not able to do nothing about it. You understand? They're killing Native Indians left and right and we can't do nothing about it. You understand? We are a people without protection. And that's what a gate is for, to protect your people, to protect your zone, to protect you. So how is the Jewish man over there not protected? Even if he didn't have everything that he has right now, I mean, he has allies. Canada's an ally, the US, the UK, Australia, whatever, they're all allies. So how is he not protected? He has people to back him up. We don't. You understand? Just to show you how they do not even fit the description of what a real Jew is in the first place. So how are they the real Jews? Make that make sense? But night breath, kosher deals. You understand? And if we keep on reading into the verse, let me read it again, as a matter of fact. Jeremiah chapter 14, verse 2. Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. I just broke down the fact that we're mourning, you understand? in our gaze language, but also is that it says that we are black. The Jews are black unto the ground. You understand? Let me repeat it. The Jews are black unto the ground. You understand? So like, give me 1 second. Yes, like it says, the Jews are black unto the ground. Now, how is the man in the state of Israel right now black or any type of color? He's clearly Caucasian, you know. And the Caucasians, actually, they're not white. They're actually red. Or people will call him pink man, whatever the case is. But they're the red man, you understand? But they describe the Jews as being black unto the ground, meaning they are different shades of brown. They're from, I call it Wesley Snipes dark to light, like, I don't know, for those who listen to hip hop and UK drill, they're like the rapper Logic, who's a brother, or Essential C, who's another brother, right? But these brothers they look white, they look Caucasian, but they're not. You understand? They're brothers. You understand? So we have brothers dark like Wesley Snipes, dark like Kodak, then light like Central C and Logic. The Jews are black unto the ground. You understand? Just to show you that Kosher Dales and Benjamin Netanyahu are not the actual real Jews that the Bible speaks of. As a matter of fact, not only am I going to show you, not only how I call it, by describing how they look like, I'm going to show you who the real Jews are by how they were affected. You understand? When I mean affected, I mean by the curses that were brought upon them. You understand? According to the scriptures. Before I do that, I'm going to show you who the fake Jewish man is. You understand? I'm going to show you right there. We're going to go in Revelation chapter. We're going to start at 2, right? Revelation chapter 2, verse 9, if I'm not mistaken. Right, we're going to start at Revelation chapter 2, verse 9. I'm going to show you the real identity, right, of the so-called Jewish man that's in Israel right now, of the man there that's running Westmount and Côte Saint-Luc and Hempstead, Benai Brith in them. You understand? I'm going to show you their real identity right here in the scriptures, right? So we're in Revelation chapter 2, verse 9. And it reads, I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan. Let me read that again for y'all. Revelation chapter 2, verse 9, right? It reads, I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. I'm going to stop right there. So the Most High says he know our works and our tribulation. It's in our poverty. He know what we go through. He know how broke we are. You understand? He know how oppressed we are. You understand? But it's saying we are rich, meaning it's not talking about financial wealth. It's talking about the wealth that you have over here in the mind, in the spirit, in the heart. Mind you now, the heart is not the heart. Physically, your heart is just a muscle that pumps blood. But spiritually, when it's talking about the heart, right? Like you have the heart to do something, meaning you have the spirit, you have the mind to do it. Now, the Most I say, like, you know, I know what you're dealing with. That's what he says. He says, I know what you're dealing with. You understand? Our poverty, our tribulation, what we go through. You understand? Because we don't run the world, but we make the world go round, you know. We make the world run. So-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. You understand? And that's what the Most High is saying. I know what you're going through right now. And then what he's saying is that if I keep reading, right? And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan. Meaning he knows that, what is a blasphemy now? A blasphemy, right, is okay. I'm gonna put it's an insult to the Most High, right? Blasphemy is something that goes against the Most High. You understand? And he knows the blasphemy. He knows, right, the insult from the people who say they identify as Jews, meaning the Jewish people, and they're not. Because the Most High know his people. He didn't choose no goddamn. Wait a minute there. Wait a minute. Seth Rogen. He didn't choose no goddamn Seth Rogen to be his people. You understand? What's the little fat white man there that plays in 21 Jump Street? I forgot, but y'all know y'all know who I'm talking about. You understand? Jonah Hill. He didn't choose no Jonah Hill to be his people. You understand? He knows the blasphemy, the insult that is the insult to him, right? From them identifying as Jews and they're not. They are the synagogue of Satan. You understand? So if y'all don't know, Salakia, I'm a sidebar real quick, right? If y'all don't know, in the last week of June, really the last weekend of June, actually, we had brothers from the States. We had General Mahayman, the water for General coming in, right? We had Officer 5,000 Aban, Salakia, by General Mahayman. We had Captain Azanaya, Captain Arya, General 5,000 Aban, Salakia, right? We had Trooper Yakwataza coming in from the States, you understand? And Benai Brith, and we also supposed to have Commanding General YAHANNA coming to Canada, and Benai Brith try to stop us, understand, from doing what we do every weekend, you understand? Just having camps on the street, you understand? Trying to wake up our people, you understand? And also having a gathering, a family celebration. You understand? Just a little family gathering. Just what white people call a picnic. We're having a barbecue, a little cookout. They're trying to prevent us. You understand? Because they got the goddamn devil the Bible speaks of, and they're trying to prevent us from waking up our people. But it did not work their way, right? And so, like right now, I have joining with me, like I was telling you in the beginning of the class, my big brother from Toronto, right? The Hebrew fresh priest, yeah. Officer 1000 Zabadia, you understand? Yo, give my big brother a hand. Oh, sure.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Salakia, the one I can hear you, but you sound kind of low right now.
I'm just testing out a new mic. Salakia, what about now? Can you hear me?
It sounds a bit better, but it still sound kind of low.
Okay, give me a moment. I'm gonna figure it out.
No sweat out of one. No sweat. I'm gonna keep on going for now, right? So right now, I just show you right here that not only that from Jeremiah chapter 14 verse 2 that the Jews, the real Jews, are supposed to be in mourning, supposed to be in living in sadness, in sorrow, and then when you link it with Revelation chapter 2 verse 9, right, it shows that the Most High knows the poverty and the tribulation, meaning what we are going through as Jews, understand? And he is also witnessing the insult from the people identifying as the chosen people of God, but they're not. Meaning that, when there's some reverb on your side, I don't want.
Salakia, what about now? Can you hear me a little better?
I can hear you way better right now, but it's like a kind of like a reverb or whatever the case, like some radio effect.
Salakia,
No sweat, one. So like I was telling you, the Most High know who are his people. You understand? He knows that these people in the state of Israel right now, the Caucasian men pretending to be, us, the Jewish men pretending to be black, meaning blackish, is not the actual chosen people of God. So now, I just show you with a few color scriptures who are the real Jews that the Bible speaks of. I show you Revelation chapter 2, verse 9, not only with color, but what we're going through in the first place. Now I'm going to describe a few other how you call it, situations that we went through and that we're still going through, that will describe the chosen people of the Most High, who are the actual biblical Jews or Israelites, which is the proper term. Understand? Who are they? I'm going to show it to you right now. We're going to go in Deuteronomy chapter 2 and Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 1, right? Give me 1 second. I said Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 1. Again, if y'all have any questions, just type it in the chat. Not only that, but right now, we see that 3 people are watching the class. Those 3 people, y'all better like, share, and subscribe to the class. Stop playing around, Babash. You understand? Don't be lukewarm. You understand? Just like Officer Baja said, Talakia, I'm a paraphrase for what Officer Baja said on the chosen track. You understand? You can't just dip your toe in. Don't dip your toe in the pool. Just jump in it. If you know, if you gotta be in it fully. You understand? Don't just watch the class. Like, share, and subscribe. Spread the truth. Not that we need you to spread the truth for us. We're gonna do it regardless. You understand? But don't be lukewarm. It's either you're hot or you're cold. You understand? Now, let me show you the scripture right here, right? I'm going to describe to you how we are Israelites according to what we're going through. You understand? So we are in Deuteronomy. We're going to start at Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 1, right? So now the Most High is going to tell the Israelites what's going to happen if we actually listen to, you know, the instructions that he provided us, the commandments, right? So Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 1, and it reads, "And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth." You understand? So, right. So Moses is telling us, right, you understand, that if we listen to the commandments, the laws, statutes, and commandments that the Most High provide us, meaning the instructions to be able to live. You understand? That, you know, okay, so to hearken meaning to listen, to pay attention, right? If we listen and pay attention to the instruction that the Most High gave us, our Father, right? We will see what is going to come to pass, meaning we will see what will happen in the future, that will be set on high. So, like, yeah, they'll be set on high, meaning we'll be above all the nations on the face of the earth. That's what it said. They will be set on high above all nations on the face of the earth.
Right.
If we actually listen to the laws and the commandments of the Most High, meaning the instructions that our Father gave us. You understand? Now, that's just for context purposes, right? So now let me jump down to verse 15. We're still in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15, right? And it reads, "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee." Let me break it down to y'all. If we disobey the Most High, we're going to be punished. That's it. I'm trying to break it down to y'all as simple as I can, right? Meaning, okay, so to whoever's watching, or whoever may watch in the future, right, after the class, right? So if y'all have any kids, you understand, when you tell your kid to come back at 9 p.m. Don't stay outside after 9 p.m. You understand? I mean, you expect him to listen. And if the kid listen, I mean, you're going to reward the kid. Like, you know, if you get good grade or whatever the case is, the kid gets good grade, or the kid listens to you, hearkens, you're gonna reward the kid with what? Candies, whatever favorite meal, something special, a PlayStation, a Game Boy. So like I'm born in the '90s, so yeah, we used to get Game Boys and things. So like you understand, but you get what I'm saying, You're gonna get the kid is gonna get a reward because he's doing well in school or he's behaving well. And that's what the Mosiah said in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 1. If we listen, we'll get the Game Boy. But now we jump down to verse 15. If we don't listen, meaning if he tells us to come back by 9 p.m. and we come at 9:30 more than once, I mean the Mosiah is merciful. He will give us a chance. We don't listen once, twice, three, four, five times, because I'm gonna paraphrase. We are a stubborn people. So-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians are a stubborn people. You understand? So now, if we disobey the Most High to the point where He says, "You know what? I'm tired of it. I'm gonna give you a punishment now." You understand? That's what happens to us because we refuse to listen to the Most High God. Instead of coming back at 9 p.m., we keep coming back at 9:30, 10 p.m. And the Most High said, "You know what? Those curses that He brought upon us are a punishment." And now I'm going to read a few of those curses that were brought upon us to describe who are the actual biblical Jews that the Bible speaks of. Understand? So first of all, we're going to jump down next verse, right? Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 16, and it reads, "Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field." Now, up till 2022, when you look at our situation in the city, whatever the case is, we are cursed. In Montreal right now, in the city of Montreal, our Gadites, brothers and sisters, the so-called Native Indians, are living under bridges, struggling on drugs, alcoholics. You understand? Sometimes you may find a body under the bridge of water, right? The police know what's going on. They don't care. You understand? In the city right now, we're shooting each other left and right. Whether it be the Haitians, whether it be the Jamaicans, whether it be the Mexicans, you understand? It don't matter. You understand? We are cursed in the city and in the field. I was gonna give you the example for like we were on plantations for what, more than 400 years, whatever the case is, but up till 2022, our Gadite brothers and sisters are in reservation right now on what is supposed to be their own land. They are cursed in the city and in the field, just like us. Benjamites, so-called West Indian people, are working side by side with Mexicans or other Latino brothers, you understand, in the fields. You understand? They're making sure white people are able to have a fresh glass of orange juice by working like slaves in the fields, picking up fruits. We are cursed in the city and in the fields. You don't see no kosher deals in the fields. You don't see him being cursed in the cities. If you ever see a so-called Jewish man, or as a matter of fact, any so-called Caucasian person being struck up on drugs, or a bum or a homeless man, they made bad life decisions because this is the white man's world. I mean, y'all make it make sense. Y'all can't go on welfare. Like, how does that make sense? I mean, yeah, some people are gonna say, yeah, you know what? We didn't have a choice, or we didn't grow up like that. We grew up poor. I mean, I get it. You know why I get it? Because the white man is such a devil. He will oppress his own people. But in the end of the day, this sounds like a personal problem to me. Go fix that with your own nation. Don't take it up to us. We have our own problems. At the end of the day, we are the people cursed in the fields and in the cities. Wherever we are cursed in the field and the city, whether it's the UK, France, Jamaica, all the West Indian islands, Canada, the States, Central and South America, the Netherlands, wherever we are cursed in the cities and in the fields. You understand? Now let's jump down to verse. Let's jump down to verse 32, right? Show a few more curses. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 32, and it reads, "Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fell with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand." What does that mean now? Let me break it down to y'all for time's sake, right? So our sons and daughters, our children, right, will be taken from us and be given unto another people. You understand? Like, if you know Black, Hispanics, and Native Indian people, we will not just give away our children like that. That's not how we operate. You understand? We don't. We're not like that. You understand? The thing is, give me 1 second, Babu Shot. You understand? So I would think, our children, right, are going to be taken away from us and being given or provided to another people, right? And we're going to look at them like, we're going to miss them. You understand? We're going to feel bad like, I want my son back. I want my daughter back. You understand? We're going to feel for them like, what's going on? But we're not going to have any power to bring them back to us. You understand? That's what I mean when it says, "And there shall be no might in thine hands," meaning we cannot do anything about it. You understand? Especially when you look into slavery, where they were separating families. You understand? Like you buy the children off of the slave market and you separate them from their mother or their fathers, whatever the case is. The mother could only look at her children going away, being given to another slave master. You understand? During the 60s coup, where they were bringing Native Indian children, right, to residential schools, they were literally kidnapping the children from their household and bringing them to residential schools. And the parents could not do anything about it. You understand? They were not doing this to Jewish people. They didn't do this to Benjamin Netanyahu grandfather or great grandfather. They did not do this to Caucasian people. What's the word again? Identify themselves as the Jewish man. They did not. They only did this to so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. It shows you again that we are the Jews the Bible speaks of. It's not even about this right here. It's not even talking about color. It's talking about the things that we went through and that we still go through right now. You understand? Child, what do you call it? DPG or child services. They will take away your children from you. They'll bring them into a. Damn, what's the word again? Salakia, the one. What's the word again? They'll bring. It's not a halfway house. I forgot what it was. But they'll bring them into a foster home. They'll bring them to a foster home, instead, or a foster family, and most likely your children are gonna get molested. Salakia. You understand? But my point is, your children are gonna be taken away from you. You don't even have to abuse your children to have your children taken away from you. You understand? The state or the province or the government deem that you're not a parent that is fit to take care of those children, they're going to be taken away from you. And all you could do is watch and cry. Because there is no might in your hand. You cannot do anything about it. You understand? whatever we're going through up till 2022, everything is biblical. So like, it kind of kills me how people would say, you know, I don't believe in the Bible, whatever the case is, or, you know, the Bible is a white man's book, whatever the case is. But whatever the chosen people of the Most High are going through in the Bible, we are going through it right now up till 2022. And in 2023, because, you know, 2023 is just right there knocking at our doors. So everything that we're going through is biblical. It shows who the real Jews are. Because you don't see no Jewish men having their kids taken away from them. Understand? If they do, they're gonna fight teeth and nails. You understand? Best believe, like, if you don't know the Caucasian man, he will burn down his house. If you try burn down his house with him and his children in it, if you try to take away his children from him. You understand? He will murder his whole fucking Slovakia. He will murder his whole family before you take away his children from him. And then take his own life. You understand? But us will have our children taken away from us. And there is no might in our hand. We can do nothing about it. Right? So now let me jump down to a few other scriptures, right?
Salaki, can you hear me yet?
Can I can hear you better now. I don't want you to Wab.
Okay, Khan. Now, what you're bringing out is definitely heavy, right? Like what you're bringing out is what they don't want the earth to know. Like they don't want the earth to know that the Jews are black. Right? They don't want them to know that the Jews are so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And there's a video that I'm looking for. I have it. I just got to search my files for it. But it's basically a Amalekite, right? Which is the biblical name of so-called Jewish people.
Right.
A Jewish professor saying that the Jews were once black. So Salakia, I'm gonna find it, and you can carry on for now. I'm gonna jump.
Salakia, when you're breaking up a bit, but just to add on what you were saying, because okay, yeah, I'm gonna bring out a few more curses that, you know, identify who are the true and biblical Jews of antiquity up till this day, right? But what you say is heavy, because not only the Jewish man is admitting that the Jews are black, but so like I'm gonna get his name right here. A ancient president, not ancient, but a past president of Egypt. I think his name was Abdel Nasser, right? Give me 1 second, Babakasha. I'm gonna pull his name right here. Let me pull up his name real quick. I think it's Abdel Gamal Nasser, right? He's an Ishmaelite, or so-called Arab, right? He said himself, I'm a paraphrase real quick. He said, the Middle East will never be at peace because the Jews left black and they came back white. Meaning the other nations, they know who we are.
Right.
You understand? Give me 1 second, Baba Kusha. I'm gonna pull it up right here. One second, Baba Kusha. So yeah, his name is Abdel Gamal Salakia. Let me see if I could pull up the picture for y'all. I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to see it. His name is Gamal Abdel Nasser, right? He's a late president of Egypt, right? I don't know if I can see the picture. That's him right there. And that's the quote. Y'all not going to be able to see the text, but I'm going to read it for y'all, right? So now, he said about the war for Israel. He said when he was, he said, so when he was asked about peace in the Middle East, the late president of Egypt, Gamal Abdel Nasser, stated, the Jews will never be able to live here in peace, because they left here black but came back white. You understand? And you're not going to have a lot of heathen nations admitting that the Jews are black. But him, as a so-called Egyptians, which are not the actual Egyptians, but he's an Ishmaelite or probably a Greek descendant, right? Regardless, he said that the Jews left black and they came back white. You understand? He's not saying that they literally came back white. He's just saying, you know, the Caucasian people in the state of Israel are not the real Jews. And that's why they will never be able to live in peace in the Middle East. If you haven't noticed, ever since, like, what is it, 1944, 1945, whatever the case is, when they created the state of Israel, they've been at war with Palestinians and the whole, like, Arab nations. Even though they have a few deals or contracts with them, whatever the case is, they do business with them, they're still at war with them. Why? Because the Arab people know that these are not the real Jews that the Bible speaks of. I mean, even in the Quran, Muhammad was killing Jews, whatever the case is, forcing them to convert to Islam. Arabs people were warring with Jews, but they didn't know that these are not the people they were having beef with back in the days. So now, who are these people impersonating our, you know, our ops, claiming that is their land? You understand? Now, I just wanted to, you know, to add more on what opposite what Dallas Budget was saying, but let me show you a few more curses that we went through to identify who are the real Jews that the Bible speaks of. Then again, so far from the curses that I read right now, the white man, the Caucasian man, is not a Jew. You understand? He is not a chosen people of the Most High. So let's keep reading. I was going to go down to, all right, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 43 now. And it reads, the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. Keep reading, verse 44. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Now let me break it down to y'all, right? The stranger meaning, right? So it's talking about the heathen nations that are around us, right? So whenever you have a so-called black or, you know, Latino or native neighborhood, you will always have that little convenience store. Is that an East Indian or a Chinaman, understand, that is within our community, which is above us because he's running the business. You understand? He is above us. I mean, we're oppressed and everything, but he's running his own business. He's living, he or she, whatever the case is, they are living a life. You understand? They have their little Chinese convenience store, East Indian convenience store, whatever the case is, within the black community, right? They are above us and we are below them. And they shall lend to us. You understand? We will have to borrow from them. We have to depend from them. You understand? You don't see that in the Jewish community. The Jewish community, they don't depend from nobody. But we do. We depend from the heathens in our community. You understand? They are high above us and we are way below them. You understand? They shall be the head and we shall be the tail, meaning a head is the one that leads and the tail will follow. And that's what we do. We follow after the heathens, which are in our community. Because when you go to any Chinatown there that is all over the world, there is no Latino convenience store. There is no Haitian convenience store. There is no Native Indian convenience store. But in our communities, we must have them in our convenience stores running everything. You understand? That doesn't happen in the Jewish community. So how would you identify yourself as a true biblical Jew when you are not fitting those curses? Mind you now, I'm not even done with the curses. We're going to jump to, let's jump to verse 49, right? So Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 49, it reads, the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle fleet, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Now, mind you now, the so-called Jewish people went through the Holocaust. Now, those people who brought a genocide upon them, they did not come from far. They were literally from the same land. Some of these so-called Jewish people were German as well. Some of these Germans were Jewish. And these Nazis were on, either on both sides, meaning now, apparently Hitler was a so-called Jewish man. You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm getting at right now? Meaning, how are they fitting that curse when it says that the Most High will bring a people against the so-called chosen people of the Most High, you understand, enemies coming from a far land? You understand? As far as I know, it only fits us because when you look at all the nations of the earth, I mean, you know what? Let me correct that, because some nations that did have the Caucasian men come from far to oppress them, that doesn't mean they fit that curse though. You understand? The Jewish man in Israel is not a real Jew because he did not have anyone coming from far to oppress him. And if we read down one verse down, it says with verse 50 that a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor shew the young, nor shew favor to the young. I mean, yeah, they didn't get the favor shown to them during the Holocaust, but those people oppressing them or killing them during the Holocaust, they did not come from far. You understand? And when we come back up to verse 49, it says, that nation who came from far is going to be as swift as the eagle fleet. A nation whose tongue they shall not understand. The Jewish people did, they understood German. They understood the Nazis. And the Nazis didn't come from far. So how are they fitting the church? As far as I know, when the so-called Spaniards or the Portuguese came to the so-called New World, right? We did not understand them, and they didn't understand us. They had to bring translators to be able to communicate with the people over there, the natives and the so-called Latinos today. You understand? When the Africans sold us to the white men, we did not understand one word they were saying. So like today, I was by my block, by the barbershop there, right? Just having a quick drink with the man them. Some Nigerian came talking, some gibberish, whatever the case. So I look at Officer 1000 out of here. I'm like, what the hell did the man just say? But we started laughing. It's like the man was speaking in tongues. Salakia. You get what I'm saying though. My point is, we will not understand. So the so-called biblical Jews will not understand the language of the people coming against them. You understand? Again, when you look at the Jewish people who were victim of the so-called Holocaust, right? They did understand German. The Nazis in Poland, they didn't understand the Polish. They did understand whatever language the Nazis were speaking, they understood it. So they do not fit that curse either. Now, let's jump down again, right? Let's go to verse 54, as a matter of fact, real quick. You understand? Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 54, it reads, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother and toward the wife of his bosom and towards the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. I'm going to break it down real quick for time's sake. This is talking about black on black crime. You understand? the softest man. I mean soft, I mean the one who's most calm. You understand? The one who would not hurt anybody. He could get into a scuffle. You understand? With some brothers. His mind could switch up. Next thing you know, he goes buys a gun and he shoots up the block. You understand? That doesn't happen in the Jewish community.
Right, and that's so heavy, Salakia, if I may.
Go ahead, Adam.
That's so heavy what you're saying, because you could definitely see it with what happened to the brother Takeoff, right? Where brothers will get into an argument and someone's just gonna start shooting, right? Someone who listen, I'm gonna just break it down to you. A lot of niggas in the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and I said Hispanics because Hispanics are niggas too. Hispanics are black too, right? Black people colorism. So we think that Hispanics aren't our brothers, or so-called Latinos, right? But there are brothers as well, right? And you'll see it that so many of our brothers and sisters, they're very talented in arts, in linguistics, in science, in mathematics, and they just get caught up in horrible situations because they've been.
I don't want to cut you off.
Salakia?
I don't want to cut you off, Adawan, but if I may,
Khan.
In the words of my nigga El Mijo, I say nigga because Mexicans are niggas too.
Right. And that's definitely true, right? Our brothers and sisters are so beaten down that they don't know how to act, right? And just like this priest and officer was just bringing out, like the tender among us, the brothers that they don't want to be gangsters, right? If you can go and ask so many brothers and sisters in the neighborhoods. You see those black men and those Hispanic men you see chilling on your block, smoking weed and selling drugs. Ask them if they want to be there selling drugs. They'll tell you no. They would rather be the CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, right? But we go through so much oppression that we don't know how to get ourselves out of these oppressive situations. Salakia. Good night.
Salakia, if I may, just to paraphrase real quick, oppression will make a wise man mad.
Right.
Black, Latinos, and Native Indian people, we're the most compassionate people on the face of the earth. Even if you are enemy, like you can see right now, we'll still forgive our oppressor. We'll still try to join our oppressor. You understand? But the fact that we're so oppressed, we don't know how to channel that bad energy, that energy we get, those feelings we get from oppression. Therefore, we lash out against each other because we're like animals that keep in a cage that cannot stand being in a cage, but we cannot lash out at the people putting us in a cage because we're locked up in a cage. So what we're going to do, we're going to lash out at our brethren that are in the cage with us. You understand? And Salakia, like I was saying in chapter 54, you understand, it's talking about black on black crime or brown on brown crime, right? You understand? Not only that, the most calm brother is going to lash out, you understand, if he gets into a scuffle, whatever the case is. But you see that it's also talking about, that his eye will be evil toward the wife of his bosom. I mean, it is white supremacy and a Caucasian, not a conspiracy theory, but is an actual plan from them that, to separate or to dissolve the black family or the brown family, right? But even then, it's like we go against each other. The man will go against the women against men, whatever the case is. We go against each other. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? We will go against the wife of our bosom. We will go against our ribs. Why? Because that is one of the curses that we're going through right now. It doesn't happen to the Jewish man. I mean, Caucasian people, they always beef with each other. They don't have no happy marriages. That's a lie. You understand? But whatever the case is, I mean, we go against our wives and against our children. I mean, I don't know for whoever's in class right now, you understand? Have you ever had a parent that beat you for no reason? I mean, I wouldn't give a reason to beat a child. I would not, never. You understand? The UPK is against violence. You know, we know how to teach our children. We don't have to raise a hand on any of our children. You understand? But in the world, people outside the UPK in the world, have you ever had a parent, a mom or dad, or even an uncle or auntie, you know, raise their hand against you? Whether you deserve it or not. You understand? That's what it's talking about. You're gonna beat your children for no reason. Why? You're gonna beat your children because you can't get high around them, then they're bothering you. They won't let you smoke your cigarette in peace. So you're gonna smack them around. And that's what Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 54 is talking about. But yeah, Salaka, for time's sake, I'm gonna jump down a few other verses, right? Because right now I'm showing you who the real Jews are. Because none of these curses are fitting the so-called Caucasian men in the state of Israel right now. As a matter of fact, they are not fitting the curses. But we are, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians. Now I'm going to say one thing though. Prove me wrong. You understand? If y'all don't agree that the Jews are the black people, the Latinos, and the Native Indians, prove me wrong. And I'm going to show you that you can't prove me wrong. Let me jump down to verse 64. 64? Right, verse 64. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. Now this is strictly for black people. Hispanics and Native Indians. It's telling us that we will worship other gods, meaning other deities. You understand? Bow down to other. You know, we just worship other gods. You know, we're gonna do some pagan stuff. We're gonna bow down to Buddha. We're gonna convert to Hinduism. But especially, it specifies two things. Especially, we're gonna become either Christians or Muslims. That's why I said the wood and the stone. The wood describing the so-called the cross that they nailed our king on, Yahushua Mashiach, and the stone is the stone that was the Kaaba stone that you would see in Mecca right now, that is circling around, round and round. You understand? That's what we'd be worshiping in the last days, right? You don't see that with any other nations. I mean, yeah, you will see other nations worshiping Christianity, you understand, Islam, whatever the case is. But are they fitting the other curses? No, because you fit a part of the curse that you are automatically Israel. You understand? Because like we started at the beginning of class, the nation of Israel are colored people. The only people that is not colored on the face of the earth is a Caucasian man. So does that make any other non-Caucasian people the nation of Israel? La, no. Because not only you have to be a so-called colored person, right? We also have to fit those curses. You understand? And I'm gonna jump down to my favorite curse, the one that I like the most. Not because I enjoyed it. I wasn't even born when it happened. You understand? But because this is undeniable proof that so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians are the true biblical Jews of antiquity. You understand? This is proof that the Caucasian man in the state of Israel is not a real Jew. The Nigerian, the Igbo, or whatever tribe, whatever the hell, you know, I don't even know how to pronounce it. Whatever tribe there is in Africa are not the real Jews the Bible speaks of. The Ethiopians are not Jews. They don't fit no curses. And I'm going to show you that they don't
right.
fit.
And Salakia, if I may.
Salakia, go ahead, Adawan.
Right. And we could just bring out like who are like the real Jews, right? Because there's something that's happening in Israel right now in the community of Israelites who we call fake Israelites, right? Because if you're not in the ISUPK, Lord knows you're going through a whirlwind of different doctrines of hate and a lack of brotherhood, because this is where it all started and this is where you're supposed to be with your brothers. So many brothers and sisters say brotherhood, but they are not with the ISUPK because they lack brotherhood. They like the tribe chart, they like the salute, they like the garments, they actually jump in inboxes and ask to where they could purchase garments, but they don't want to come home, right? So if we could, Barak Allah, can you get Second Ezra's chapter 13?
Okay, give me 1 second, Adawan.
Okay. So we're gonna, like, a lot of times you hear people say Hispanics and Native Americans are Israelites, right? And we're just gonna break down how that is possible, right? Because it's in the scriptures. Salakia, one moment.
Salakia, Adawan. You want me to start at verse 40?
Khan, you can start at verse 40.
Khan. This is the book of Second Ezra in the Apocrypha, chapter 13, verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea, the king whom Salmanessar, the king of Assyria, led away captive.
Right. So what this is about, like, Israel has gone through many captivities, right? We've gone through the Babylonian captivity. We've gone through the Assyrian captivity. This is the captivity we're speaking about right now. Our first captivity was the Egyptian captivity. Our last captivity is the Egyptian captivity, meaning America and everyone who follows America or the daughter of Babylon is America's like the land of Egypt, right? Where you have pharaohs, where they built an economy, a nation that everyone came to do business with off the backs of so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? Right. You find out through research, right? Through archaeology, right? I'm gonna put a Salakia. I'm going to put a video in the chat that you could watch later, right? It's Captain of 10,000, Captain I.S.U.P.K, right? An amazing lecture.
You're breaking up.
Right? I remember watching this lecture as a young man live. It's an amazing lecture on the 12 tribes, right? So I'm gonna put it, and then you could watch the full breakdown. What I would suggest is, as you watch the breakdown, watch it a bunch of times, sit back and take notes, right? But we're going to talk about how the Native Americans and so-called Hispanics are the tribes of Israel, right? Salakia. I'm just gonna find this chat. So what this is talking about is talking about how the 10 tribes, right? This is after the nation split up because of interracial marriage, right? So what happened is our nation split up when King Solomon had many wives, right? A few of them, a good majority of them, were heathens, and because of that, the nation split apart. Right. So what I'm going to do, give me a moment. I'm still looking for this lecture. Salakia. Right. But our nation split apart. Right. The 12 tribes.
I'll post it.
I got it right here. Right.
Oh, okay.
The 3 tribes stayed together under the house of Judah, which would be Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Right. The so-called American Negroes, the so-called West Indies, right? That would be like islands like Martinique, Trinidad, Jamaica, and other dark islands, right? Stayed together. They stayed together with the tribe of Levi, who were the priests. Now, Levi, he was that tribe was also in the northern kingdom. They were spread out through all the nation of Israel, right? But those 3 tribes stayed together. And then you had the rest of the tribes, they split apart, right? They went their own way, right? And through that happening, through the nation splitting, you had the house of Judah and the house of Israel. Israel being the northern kingdom, so-called Latinos, right? They split and they went into captivity. This is the Assyrian captivity. Now, many people like to say, you got to do a DNA test, right? Well, this is what I don't understand, right? Everyone says you got to do a DNA test, and they've never administered a DNA test. Like you could go have someone draw your blood and say, yeah, this is my DNA test. These are the results, but they don't know how to do a DNA test. Meaning, you could tell someone you got to eat some cake, right? Or you could tell someone this is how you make a cake, but they've never made a cake, right? So a lot of people who say DNA, they don't know how to administer a DNA test, but we're supposed to go to our oppressors to find out what our DNA is. The same person who beat your nationality out of you cannot give it back to you, right? Because they're not going to. There's a reason they beat it out of you. Baba Kashar, can you keep reading? Salakia Barak, are you still there?
Keep reading. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land.
Read that part one more time.
And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land.
Right. So I posted the link for the 12 tribes lecture in the chat, right? What we're reading right now is how the northern kingdom got carried away into Assyria, right? And they went into another land, right? Where they went into captivity, right? And the Lord, he heard their cries and he eventually took them out of captivity. And that's what we're going to read in just about a moment. But they were in another land, right? With another king, right? And that's because now this happened because the northern kingdom, they decided to get away from their brothers and sisters, right? And as they did that, they made deals with Egypt, thinking that was going to give them prosperity. And what you find out is once you start making deals with nations that aren't your people, like you could do business with a nation that's not your people, right? It's business, it's commerce, right? But once you start to worship their gods and live their culture, that's when everything goes downhill. Just look at what's happening to the NBA right now, right? The NBA, or there used to be black basketball leagues. Now I'm gonna ask in the chat, right? Who knows what the last black basketball league team is, right? Does anybody know? Right? If you know in the chat, just type it in, right? Or Barak, you can answer it if you have the answer. What is the last Negro League basketball team? Does anybody know?
Like I don't even know. I don't, to be honest.
Right. I'll give the people in the chat a moment to answer the question.
Okay.
But you can keep reading.
Karawakan, verse 41. But they took his counsel amongst themselves.
Read that one more time.
Kawakan, 2nd Ezra, chapter 13, verse 41. But they took their counsel amongst themselves.
Right. They took this counsel among themselves. Right. So the northern kingdom, they had a council among themselves. Right. They decided that, and this is what brothers do. Brothers do this all the time, where they'll have counsel among themselves, right? They'll try to figure out how do we execute this plan? Where do we go forward? What's the best way to do what we're doing, right? And we're reading this right now in a book the Catholic Church does not want you to read. That's why they took this out. They took this out. It's right here, 2nd Ezra. You might not see it because of my light, but this is the Apocrypha, right? they took this book out so they could justify how they treated so-called Native Americans and so-called natives to the Western Hemisphere when they found them, right? They took a council among themselves. Keep reading.
Kawakan, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt.
Right. So they said they wanted to leave the multitude of the heathens. They were around heathens, right? They were in a captivity, right? And the captivity, just like all captivities, were harsh, right? There is a time when it was illegal to be a Jew, right? I'm gonna bring that precept out in a moment. It was illegal for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to say they were a Jew. This is during the Grecian captivity, right? Now, these brothers and sisters in Northern Kingdom, they said, we got to figure this out. We got to hold a council and we got to find out what we're going to do. Let's leave these heathens from around where we are, right? So now, the answer to the question of what was the last basketball team, right? The last Negro basketball team was the Harlem Globetrotters.
Kawakan.
And if you notice, just go on your YouTube and type in Harlem Globetrotters right now. It's a clown show. It's a circus act, right? And because brothers want to deal with heathens and want to deal with a multitude of nations, Kyrie Irving is given 6 steps he has to do just to play basketball after he's already apologized, right? The brother tried to stay strong and solid as now, not to say he's not solid, but he tried to hold out as long as he could. But they threatened his livelihood, saying you can't take care of your children and you can't take care of your family, right? Now, listen, Kyrie Irving, he's not going to be in a bad position. He's a multimillionaire. He has over $100 million. He's going to be all right. But it just shows you what happens when you deal with heathens, right? The NBA is 73% black, right? 73% black, with a Jewish commissioner who's telling black men how they are supposed to live their lives and how they have to act in accordance to what they want, as if white people make the league go. No one's going to watch a bunch of Nikola Jokic's run up and down, right? No one's going to watch a bunch of there's a white boy on Dallas. They call him Baby Bird. No, he can dribble like a brother. He can shoot and dunk like him, but no one's watching a bunch of him run up and all come to what we call Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Salakia. Hold up, bro. Take over for a second.
God. Just like my big brother Uncle the Thousand Body was saying, you understand? Like basically to sum it up, right? Like I was saying before, we don't run the world, but we make the world run. On the courts, you understand?
Right.
They're not here to watch the white man dribble. You understand? They're not here. They don't give a damn about no white man or Yao Ming with a what how tall he is. He's like 9 foot tall, 7 foot, something like that tall. They don't care about no tall ass nobody. You understand? They want to see the niggas dribble. On the soccer fields, they want to see the Asherites and the Issacharites and the Zebulonites kick the ball. They don't care about the rest. You understand? Because really, it's like they're not entertained by their own people. You understand? We are the entertainment.
Now, if I could,
Kawakan.
If I could, let's get back to this scripture because we're going to show how the so-called Native Americans and Hispanics are Jews as well, right? Now we say black, right? We say the Jews are black, but what we really mean is the Jews are Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, meaning the Israelites of antiquity are Blacks, Hispanics, are Native Americans. Just look at how brothers and Hispanics operate. When there's no oppressor involved, when there's no drugs involved, when there's no blood to be shed between us, right? Right now they have a movie called Wakanda Forever. It's dog water. It's trash, right? Many brothers and sisters are going to watch this right now, and that movie is going to teach them to hate the Northern Kingdom, right? Where you got some Hamites trying to make it look like they're us, right? Wakanda isn't a figment of some white man's imagination, right? What's real is blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are supposed to come together, right? Barack, you can keep reading.
Khan. Second Ezra chapter 13, verse 42. That they might dare keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land.
Right. So now what you're finding out is these brothers and sisters, they had a council and they said, listen, we weren't keeping the law, but let's leave these heathens so we can go keep the law, because there was a time when it was illegal to be a Jew, right? I'm about to find it. One moment. I'm about to give you a precept. Hold up. Barack, you can keep reading.
Khan. Verse 43. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river.
Read it one more time. Do you?
Khan. Second Ezra chapter 13, verse 43. And they entered into Slovakia. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river.
Right. So what they did was they left Assyria, right? This is the Middle East. And you just have to look up onto just Google, looking on one of your Google Maps. You're going to see all these rivers that described what the nation of Israel, how wide it was, right? Now, this is how you know the so-called oppressor, the Caucasian man who runs around with little hats, right? He's not a Jew. He's not a Jew at all, right? He doesn't even understand how vast the kingdom of Israel was, right? There's certain rabbis, right? Or rabbis, as like I like to call them, the little hats, who discuss the nation of Israel, right? Salakia, Baba Kasha, if I may, Barack, if I may, right? They discuss the nation of Israel and say, well, the 12, the lost tribes aren't going to come back because the nation of Israel is not big enough. They're talking about a little sliver of land that they think is the actual kingdom of Israel, when it's just a little small portion of it, right? And they teach that they're not going to come back because the land is not big enough. And that's not what it says in these scriptures, right? But these brothers and sisters, they entered into the Euphrates. Okay. Salakia, are you able to charge it?
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna switch from my other one.
All right, no sweat. I'm gonna carry out and then I'm gonna end out the class.
Salakia, I have the security announcements as well, eh?
Okay. Just get your phone charging, or one of your phones to work, right?
Don't worry, I got it, other one.
No sweat, right? So they entered into the narrow path, right, by the Euphrates, right? If you Google, you'll see these rivers that are biblical. There's 4 rivers that showed you the border of the Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden is in the kingdom of Israel. It's the so-called Middle East, like Kazakhstan, Afghanistan, Iran, right? These are within the borders of the land of Israel. Baba Kasha, if you could keep reading.
Khan, verse 44. For the Most High then shoots signs for them. And
the Most High, stop at the commas, Baba Kasha. The Most High showed these brothers and sisters signs, right? Just like he shows us signs right now, meaning he was communicating with them, right? And telling them what they have to do, right? We see signs. We see a sign right now. The airways are opening up and everybody is saying they're a Jew, right? Salakia, everyone's saying blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are Jew. And what you're finding out is a black man could be a drug dealer. He could be the #1 killer in all the earth. He could be a serial killer, and he could be like King Von and have 46 bodies, meaning he killed 46 black people, and he's gonna get a record deal, right? He can say he's a woman, and he's going to get a Tyler Perry movie deal or be an Orange is the New Black. But if he says he is a Jew, Nike, the same people who are persecuting other nations are going to say, nah, I can't deal with that. No, you can't be a Jew. Even though Nike still has dealings with Brett Favre, who stole millions of money that was supposed to go to poor black people in Mississippi, right? Mississippi, the same place that has horrible drinking water. Nike's not going to say anything about that, right? Keep reading.
Slack, I just want to say this as well, if I may, out of one.
Con, no sweat.
Rachel Dolezal, a Caucasian woman, can identify as black and not, be deemed as anti-black. There's a video of a sister talking about, because she's a sister talking about, oh, I'm literally a white woman trapped in a black body. It's all right. Ain't nothing wrong with that. There's a Polish woman, not a Caucasian. She does look like a sister now, literally, but she is a Caucasian woman, right? And she turned herself into a black woman. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But as soon as we identify ourselves as the chosen people, as the Most High, we are anti-Semitic and we need to be canceled.
Right.
We need to be boycotted.
Right. And this is gonna, what you just said is going to I'm gonna piggyback off of what you said into the last precept that we're gonna bring out in a moment, right? Baba Kashak, keep reading. Salakia. So I'm gonna keep reading, right? Where were we? This is 2nd Ezra 13 and 44. For the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over, meaning the Most High gave them safe passage through the waters, right? Safe passages. Now, if you know anything about the ocean, right? The ocean it could be real calm, right? It could be calm like you're walking on your living room floor, or it could have waves as tall as 30-story buildings,
right?
And big ships. Now, people always say, "Where are the slave ships? How come there's no more slave ships? Why can't we see them?" Listen, the slave ships are at the bottom of the ocean, right? One thing you got to understand about our oppressor, he's cunning. He didn't want those slave ships to be seen anymore, right? Wood rots. Have you seen a wooden table from during slavery? Just if anybody has seen a wooden table or has a wooden table from slavery, just let me know what it looks like, right? Just take a picture of it and post it online so we can see it, right? I guarantee you, if that thing is not dust by now, if the termites haven't gotten to it by now, the weather has destroyed it. Have you seen trees outside and what happens to them when they start to rot, when there's no more life in these trees, right? So I'm gonna keep reading.
Salakia, one. What verse you at? I got it.
45.
Khan, 1 second. Put it back on my camera.
Khan.
2nd Ezra chapter 40. Sorry, 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 45. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of 1.5 years.
Right. So this journey that these brothers took, it was damn near 1.5 years. Right. Now, if you're trying to understand what's going on. They sailed out of the Middle East and went around Africa. Right. Now, you have certain Israelites who love Africans. They love Africans so much they let them come into their school and kill sisters. Right. I pray you understand to listen. You find whichever Israelite group is best for you. But if you want to be in the truth, if you want to learn how to fight, if you want to learn how to be a soldier and a good sister, and to love your sister and to love your brothers, right? You got to come home and sit at the feet of Commanding General YAHANNA in the I.S.U.P.K. Right. Now, these brothers, they took a long journey and they ended up in the Caribbean islands in South America, right? And you'll find out that the currents right now still go the same way, where there are certain currents that go off the west coast of Africa and go into the Caribbean, into South America, right? Keep reading.
Khan. And the same region is called Asareth.
Right, which just means a land, right? Asareth just means land. Now you'll have again the same Israelites who they're chasing Hamite money. What they really want is to get rich. They'll go and say, you Hamites are our brothers and sisters. Now that's not saying there aren't Israelites in the land of fleas, right? But what you're finding out is these brothers, they just went to a land where no man dwelt. Keep reading.
Khan. Verse 46. Then dwelt they there until the latter time.
They dwelt there till they're still there right now. We call them so-called Latinos, right? They were there until they met a blue-eyed devil by the name of Columbus, who kidnapped them, and 1,100 of them, only 300 survived the journey back to Queen Isabella of Spain, right? Now, this is knowledge that you need to know. So when you see an Hispanic brother, you can treat him like love. Have you ever had a slavery where it's construction or labor? You most likely worked with an Hispanic brother. And from what I've seen in my experience, they are the most kindest brothers you'll meet, right? Listen, go get a drink with them. You'll have a good time. Brace yourself.
Hey, Salaki, I'm gonna say this though.
God.
Y'all want to drink me? Mexicans, I'm gonna give you an advice. Tread carefully.
Eat some food. Good night. Make sure you have something in your stomach. Right?
Yeah, right.
One thing those Mexicans do is they're brotherly. They make a lot of babies. And they have a good time. Listen, I've been to a few Hispanic parties or Latino parties, right? With my brothers in the Northern Kingdom. And I've never had to worry about, am I going to get stabbed or shot in this party?
Damn right.
A good time, right? Now, the last precept I would like to bring out, right? Or Barak, do you have anything you want to bring out?
Khan, Salaki, if I may.
Khan.
That I would just want to bring out the last curse, which was my favorite curse, to identify who the real Jews are. And it's to show that nobody else went through that besides so-called Negroes, Native, and Latino brothers and sisters, right?
Right.
If I may, would be Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68, which this one is, well, none of them is deniable, but this one is the most undeniable curse that we went through as a people. Right. So it reads, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way whereof I spake unto thee.
Wait, Salakia, brat. You said the Israelites are going to go into captivity with ships.
Salakia, the one you're taking it away from me. I was trying to break it down.
Good night.
Salakia, But yeah, let me start breaking it down. Part by part, right? So when it says that the Lord will bring us into Egypt again with ships, meaning now the word Egypt really is a Greek word coming from the word Egyptos, meaning bondage, bondage meaning slavery or captivity. So now, if you know any history about the biblical Jews or the Jews in general, right? We were in captivity in the land of Egypt at some point. You understand? During the time of Moses, right? After Joseph. Right. So now we will be brought into slavery again. But then it specifies how? By the way of ships. So now, this is only one part of the curse. Who is the only people that went into slavery by the way of ships? Before anybody answers, right? I was going to get some coffee and breakfast by the store there last weekend, and I told that to the Edomite, to some Edomite Mormon. He told me there is more than one people on the face of the earth that went to slavery by the way of ships. Ask him to prove it to me. He cannot. You understand? So now I'm going to ask you again, who is the only people that went to slavery or into Egypt again by the way of ships?
Salakia, right? This is why which my brother Barak, he's gonna break down the rest of this precept, right? But the rest of this precept is important because Edomites will say, right, which they listen, they will say that there were other peoples who went into slavery in ships, like you had Germanic people or people who believe in Thor and Vikings. They would go and do what Caucasians do the best, which is go into villages and rape and murder, and they would go and take people back on ships, right? But is this curse speaking about them, right? Barak is going to break it down for you.
Now, if I keep reading, it says, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. Let me stop right there. Now, the Most High is saying that the way he's describing the curse that is going to happen to us, you understand, in the future time that he's speaking of right now, meaning we will not see it ever again. He's talking about the land we come from. We'll not see our land ever again, which is a metaphor, because when he says not ever again, meaning a very, very long time. When you look at all the nations on the face of the earth, there's not any nation, even those heathens that went into slavery on their side, never seen their land ever again. We so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians are the only people that never seen their land ever again since we went into slavery, whether it's from the Northern Kingdom with King Salmanassar, or whether it's from the Southern Kingdom that went into slavery afterwards by being sold by the Africans to the white man. You understand? The so-called Ethiopians cannot be real Jews because they're still in their own land. They do not fit that curse. So-called Igbos or whatever tribe is in West Africa, the Nigerian, cannot be the real Jews. They are in their own land. The so-called Jewish man in Israel, in the state of Israel right now, cannot be a real Jew because not that he is in his own land, but he never went to slavery by the way of ships. You understand? Let me break down the rest now. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. We are the only people who are actually never freed from our oppressors. Up until this day, they will say Abraham Lincoln abolished slavery, Jamaica abolished slavery, Panama abolished slavery, but we are still under our oppressor's foot. You understand? And there is no one who can free us. That would mean when no man shall buy you, no one can actually free us from our captivity and oppression that we are under. Now that last curse right there, which is the last verse of Deuteronomy chapter 28, proves to you that the so-called Caucasian Jewish men in the state of Israel, it's like Israel, Kosher Dills, Jerry Heller, you understand, when they're there, Seth Rogen, Jonah Hill are not the actual real Jews that the Bible speaks of. They're not the chosen people of God. The men in the state of Israel is not the chosen people of God. And so, like, I'm going to stay about real quick. Just so you know, they're not the real people of God. I mean, if they were, they would not claim that little slice of pizza there, that little pizza crust they call the state of Israel. Because the land of Israel literally is the whole Middle East. You understand? I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want Salakia. Salakia, Officer Body, can you hear me?
Khan, I can hear you. Barak, check the podcast chat and you'll see the video I'm talking about. We'll use it for later. We are unfortunately at the time. I'm going to drop it in the Salakia. We'll use it for later, right? But there was another precept that I wanted to bring out, right? This is the last precept we'll bring out. Barak, can you get 2 Maccabees chapter 6 verse 6?
Khan, give me 1 second, other one.
Right, I'm just gonna look for this video right quick. Right, I'm actually going to drop it in the chat. You can watch it on your own time, and we'll break it down later. Khan, you can read it when you got it.
Khan, this is Second Maccabees in the Apocrypha, chapter 6, verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days, or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
Right? Read it one more time. Stop at the commas.
Khan. In the Apocrypha, Second Maccabees, chapter 6, verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days.
Right. So what this is speaking on is there was a time when the southern kingdom, right, the kingdom of Judah went into Greece, right, and it was lawful for them to keep Sabbath days, right? They weren't allowed to say they were Jew, right? This is what you're seeing right now. It's unlawful for a black man to be a Jew. Like okay, I was watching scripture breakdown, right? Now General Muhammad, now listen, everybody should be watching these scripture breakdown classes. If you are in the nation of Israel and you think you're an Israelite, you should watch Thursday night One West online classes on YouTube, as well as Monday night at 9 p.m. at 7 p.m. Both classes go from 7 to 9 p.m. and you can ask any questions. But one of the things General Muhammad said was it was unlawful for us to be Jews, right? Like we could be anything. We could be everything, but we can't be Jews, right? He also said the movie that Kyrie Irving shared, right? People said it's anti-Semitic. How did they know it was anti-Semitic? They were able to watch it, but now we're not allowed to watch it. Why aren't we allowed to watch it? They had to watch it to find out it was anti-Semitic. And then what you realize is a lot of people didn't watch it. They just say it's anti-Semitic because everybody's saying it's anti-Semitic. Now ask them, right? And this is what we're going to do. We're going to go out on the streets and we're going to ask people, what was so anti-Semitic about the movie? And we're just going to wait for their answers, right? And we're going to air those answers and make a tape of it and put it on on this channel, as well as I.S.U.P.K Quebec, right? And we're going to find out what was so anti-Semitic about that movie, right? But there was a time when it was illegal for Black people to be Jews. Does that sound like November 11th, 2022? That's my question. Baba Kashak, keep reading.
Khan. Or ancient feasts.
Right. They don't want us to keep ancient feasts. Right now, listen, November is not even halfway in. And everywhere you go, it's a Christmas banner. It's a Christmas decoration. They don't want us to keep feasts, right? We got a feast coming up, right? It's called the Feast of Dedications, where we remember what it was like to be murdered and tortured and go to war with the Greeks, right? And what it was like to win battles, right? Because the Lord was with us. Keep reading.
Khan. Or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
Right? It was illegal to profess yourself as a Jew. To profess something is like this. I am a Jew. I just profess that, right? It's to tell the world something. It's making a statement, right? The statement that so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are Jews will get your deals taken away. Will damn near get you fired from your slavery. They don't want that. Now listen, again, Black men, Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you can be anything in the world. But if you say you're an Israelite or you're God's chosen people, they're going to look at you like you're a terrorist, right? Now, if you want to learn how to fight, you should get in class so we can teach you how to fight. Now, listen, Kanye, he said what he said. Kyrie tweeted what he tweeted. One thing those brothers should have did was stop being so Salakia, what's the word I'm looking for? Stop thinking they know how to battle. You can clearly see
Right.
now they know how to speak somewhat during media, but they lack the knowledge and the skill and the patience and the counsel of what it takes to battle. Right? You'll notice that when they do battle or when they do make an attempt to it, they're always on the defense. Right? One thing that you're supposed to learn when you battle, and this is wise counsel from 12 Shield General Mahayman, right? Learn how to battle the right way. Keep your opponent on defense. Never go on defense. Put them in the hot seat. Make them have to prove their points, right? There was a time when you couldn't be a Jew, and that's what this is talking about. Was that the last of it?
Khan.
All right. So we definitely are over the time, right? I did drop a link. It's a rabbi, a small hat, Harry Rosenberg, and he's going to tell you himself that the Jews are black, right? Now, a lot of times, black people don't like to hear what other black men have to say. They want the oppressor to tell them. So there's an oppressor right there. He's going to tell you what Commanding General YAHANNA and the men above him and the men now in the UPK, the men of the Lord, have been saying since 1969, since before 1969, right? This truth has been out, right? And now the UPK holds the mantle of where this truth comes, where this truth is coming out, right? Once again, I'm Priest and Officer Zabaja. We have Priest and Officer Barak Ya'Allah. Give Barak Ya'Allah a hand for holding down the class, my absence. Right? I'm going to pass the class right back to Officer 500 Barak Ya'Allah. No sweat.
This is the I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K, the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18, chapter 21, Salakia. Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 to 10, means tenth in the Hebrew, ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priest, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you'd like. Upcoming holy convocation. We have the Feast of Dedications, which is also known as Hanukkah, on Saturday, the 17th of December. If I'm not mistaken, it is going to be held in Montreal. The location is to be announced soon, so stay tuned. If you have any questions about it, contact Officer 1000 Zabadia on Facebook, which is Zabadia Banyamyan, or Officer 1000 Adiyar on Facebook as well, which is Adiyar UPK, right? With that said, to remind all Akyam and Akwatian to check the bulletin board in the hallway in their school if they have a physical one. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, boots, shirts, pants, and headbands and scarf. With that said, men of Israel, we're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers and the sisters, right? Men of Israel, Amajim, which means to stand. We're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers. Men of Israel, Amajim Shabbat. Amajim, Barak, Yahweh Ba Hashem Yahweh Shai Barakatah. Yajam Matah, which means hands down. Now we're going to give a courtesy salute to the sisters. Sar, which means turn. So turn to the direction of any sister if you have any sister in your presence.
right? Min visual Amajim Shabbat, Amajim, Barak, Yahweh Shema Al-Thon, Bashim Yahweh Shai. Yajamatash means hands down, class dismissed.
Kwame Yasharala.
Kwame Yasharala.
Kwame Yasharala.
Kwame Yasharala.
Kwame Yasharala.
Kwame Yasharala.